Okay, West Asia is officially on a knife's edge. The United States has just launched a major strike right at the heart of Iran's economy. And Iran, well, they're promising retaliation on a scale we really haven't seen before. So let's break it down. What just happened? Why is this so critical? And where does this whole powder keg go from here?
All right, let's dive right in. What you're looking at here is the aftermath of a U.S. strike on Kharg Island. Now you have to understand, this isn't just some random target. Nope. This is the main terminal for the vast majority of Iran's oil exports. We're talking about a direct hit on the very core of their economy.
And here's the official word coming out of the White House. The president is drawing a very, very clear line in the sand. He's saying, look, we hit the military targets, but we intentionally spared the oil infrastructure for now. So it's both a strike and a warning, right? It directly links any future U.S. action to the safety of those shipping lanes, especially that all-important Strait of Hormuz.
So the big question is, how did we even get here? I mean, this kind of operation doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? The U.S. is framing this as a direct retaliation for a pretty recent attack on its forces in the region.
Okay, this basically lays out the tit for tat that led to this moment. It all started with a missile attack on a U.S. compound in Baghdad. That strike resulted in American and coalition casualties. Now, the U.S. pointed the finger at an Iran-supported group, and its response was, well, incredibly swift and targeted, striking what it described as obliterated military targets on Kharg Island.
And as you can probably guess, the strike immediately kicked off a war of words. Both sides are digging in their heels, putting out justifications and threats that are sending, real tremors through the entire region.
Now, this is where the public messaging gets really interesting, because you have two completely different stories. On the one hand, the U.S. is framing this as a very precise surgical counterterrorism move, targeting what it calls Iran's oil-based terror network. But on the other hand, Iran sees this as an outright act of war. And get this, its parliament is now publicly urging the government to abandon all restraint. I mean, that's a pretty clear signal that a much more forceful and frankly unpredictable response could be on its way.
And this map really shows you why this spot is so incredibly critical. See, Kharg Island is sitting right there at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, just a stone's throw from the Strait of Hormuz. Control over this tiny sliver of water is, well, it's everything. And that's exactly why we're now seeing this intense military chess game unfold in real time.
And we're not just talking posturing here. In the wake of these strikes, we are seeing major military deployments from both sides. The entire Gulf is basically being turned into a high-alert zone. So let's get into the specifics.
First up, from the Pentagon. Their immediate response was to deploy an additional 2,500 U.S. Marines to the region. That is a serious reinforcement designed to really bolster the American military presence and its capabilities there.
And they're definitely not coming alone. We're also seeing major naval assets being rerouted to the area. We're talking about the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit. Think of them as a self-contained rapid response force and a 5th amphibious assault ship. These guys are equipped for a whole range of scenarios: amphibious landings, securing embassies, even civilian evacuations. Basically, they're preparing for any and every contingency. And get this, the strikes didn't just stop at Kharg Island. The U.S. military has actually launched a much wider campaign, hitting over 300 targets all across Iran. And that's just in the last 24 hours. This is a massive, massive escalation.
Of course, Iran is hitting back, and they're hitting back hard. They've unleashed their own widespread missile and drone attacks across the region. And here's the crucial part. They're actively widening the conflict. They're issuing direct threats to American allies like the UAE, warning them not to cooperate with the U.S. This is a clear move designed to pull the entire Gulf right into the middle of this fight.
So, why does any of this matter to the rest of the world? Why should you care? Well, it's because what happens in this tiny, narrow strip of water has a ripple effect that can seriously touch nearly every single economy on the planet.
It really all comes down to this one place, the Strait of Hormuz. You have to think of it as one of the most important choke points in the entire world. It's like the main artery that connects the major oil producers in the Middle East with all their markets in Asia, Europe, and North America.
And this chart, wow, it really puts it into perspective. Just look at that slice. A full 20%, 1/5 of the world's entire oil consumption passes through this one narrow strait. And that's not per year, that's every single day. So think about it. Any disruption, any closure, or even just the threat of a closure, it could send massive shockwaves through the global energy markets.
We're talking about your gas prices spiking and potentially even triggering a worldwide economic slowdown. That right there is what's truly at stake.
So, as both sides continue to move their warships and missile batteries into place, the whole world is basically holding its breath. The first shots have already been fired. So the real question is this: in a region this volatile and this vital to all of us, what is the price of one more spark?